And we're going. Welcome to the Steamboat Comedy Podcast. My name is Kyle Ruff. With me is your favorite witch slash astrologer slash...
Trying to be a comedian.
The comedian thing. Yes. Kendra Ruthless. Say hello.
Hello. Happy Friday the 13th, you weirdos.
All right. And it's a very special episode. We've got some special guests here. To my right is Mr. Mark Masters from Denver. Say hello, sir.
Woo! Hello, Internet.
Hey.
Podcast listeners, Steamboat Comedy. I'm excited.
Yeah, buddy. And then to my left is the one and only Pat Treuer.
Thanks for having me on the show, Kyle. Real happy to be here to talk to the Steamboat community.
I actually never... That is how you pronounce your name, is Treuer, right?
Yeah, spot on, man.
Because there's a sneaky E in there, and I was like, is this guy going to mess with me? Is he...
No. That's the old American way. Then the German-Swiss pronunciation is Treuer.
Treuer.
Yeah, so every once in a while we'll get one of those. But spot on. Nicely done.
Thank you.
You didn't even have to ask me.
You know how to read.
Well, that's just called blind confidence, and sometimes it works.
Yeah.
Were you looking at the neighbors? Is somebody
Kitty.
spying us?
Kitty sighting.
The Friday the 13th black cat.
Oh, God.
African-American cat. I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
Okay,
Yes, it's
sorry.
2019.
I'll
Jesus.
watch myself. Anyways, we're here. How was your guys' day?
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
How are you finding Steamboat? You ready to make people laugh tonight?
Yeah. Oh, Steamboat's terrific. We had a great lunch over at what was it?
Meat
Steamboat.
and seafood?
Meat
Yeah.
and seafood.
Oh,
Steamboat
hell
meat
yeah,
and
that's
seafood.
the
Incredible.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Billy's Italian hoagie. I recommend it hot.
Nice.
Get it hot.
BLT
Oh,
It's on the
chicken
cold
sandwich.
menu.
Steamboat's awesome.
Steamboat
I
is
cannot
awesome.
love it here. This is incredible. Right
Oh,
now.
So
it's a great
beautiful.
little community, man.
Every time I turn around, I see something else beautiful in the distance. It's crazy. Yeah.
poetic.
We went on a hike.
Yeah.
What's it called? Fish Lake.
Fish Lake Falls.
Fish
Fish
Oh,
Lake Falls.
Fish Creek
Fish Creek
Falls.
Falls.
Fish Creek Falls.
Yeah.
It was, and there was a race going on. There were many 0% body fat people, just hauling,
Yeah.
100-mile race,
100-mile
something like
race,
that.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Leif
Yeah.
Erickson's ancestors, or
Oh, yes. Yeah, they're the
continued
one.
family.
Yes. We, I had a joke in one of our specials. I was doing observation of Steamboat, and I concluded that because everyone's so tall and blonde here that it must have been settled by the Vikings. And there's a boot outfitter in town that's like 150 years old. So the joke was that Leif Erikson retired and settled FM Light and Sons, which
Did
is
you guys see all the signs on your way here?
Oh yeah,
They-
well, especially because
yeah.
we were listening to your guys' podcast on the way in, where you
We were
talk
talking
about
about
the
it,
size.
yeah.
There we go. There we
What we're getting
go.
into. Yeah, no, we've had a great day. It's been this is just like a perfect picture of, like, for me, this is a dream of, I'm born and raised here in Colorado. I live in Chicago now. I moved to Chicago for comedy, and about a year ago, Mark and I were talking about how cool would it be to do comedy in the mountain towns.
heck yeah.
And like, just to come with, like, the fact that we woke up in Denver, went to my favorite breakfast spot down there, Snooze Breakfast Tacos, fantastic.
Love it.
Nice.
Drove up, like, incredibly beautiful drive as always, and then get up Steamboat. It's so laid back, it's so calm,
Oh, yeah.
so quiet.
Oh yeah.
Go on a hike, and we're gonna do a show tonight. And like, we know you guys are putting a lot of work for the show, and so we're just so excited. It's just like, it's really like a gift to be here right
Yeah.
now.
Sure.
Here, and like, just we're really in the moment right now, and grateful for all of this.
Thanks, man. Well, it's a gift for us
too.
to have you.
So
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah, we've been trying so hard to reach out and get some other people in town here, and I'm glad you guys made the trip up. I hope we can keep doing it in the future, too.
When you reach out, or do you have a tough time, or like to get people to
I
come
mean,
up?
I
or?
think this is our first time getting the momentum and like getting it together because
Right.
it's so new still.
I think we're just kind of like now big enough where it would be effective to try to start doing that kind of thing, because we, going out on our own, we've kind of built a surprising little community of people who are into it here. You'd be surprised for like a small mountain town.
The show out.
Yeah, we got a great shot. Even just our open mics, I mean, when I was, the open mics I did in Ann Arbor when I was starting out was at like an actual comedy theater and with like seats and tickets and everything. And the one night I went up, there's only like 6 people.
Yeah.
And we've always got at least, 30, 40 people come out to open mic almost.
Oh yeah. Yeah, totally.
It's great.
Audience members,
Yeah.
non-comics.
Wow.
Yeah, we like the first one
It's
that we
incredible.
did. We filled. You couldn't even get through. You couldn't even get a beer at this place called the Bra House, which
Oh, yeah.
hopefully will be this winter.
Yeah, we should be going
but
back.
people just want it, and I think everyone should be excited for the Butcherknife Show tonight because it's gonna be
What's the
amazing.
name of the guy who owns Bra House? I can't remember.
I have it in my
He's
head.
such a nice
He's
dude.
the best.
But I feel so bad for him because we kind of out of the blue were like, hey, can we do some comedy at your regular open mic? And he was like, sure. And then 80 of our friends showed up and just ransacked the place. And there's this one poor server who was running around like, oh my God, what's happening? Spilling drinks everywhere and everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
So is that the start of this show that we're doing tonight then?
That was, yeah, I guess. I mean, that was the start of this group, basically. Yeah. So we started doing that. It was just off like a Facebook post. And then when we got kind of aggressive, it's funny that it even worked out, but we did like a couple, maybe I think 3 open mics.
Yeah.
And then our
But they
friend
all went
Brittany.
really well.
Oh, they all went super well. And then our friend Brittany, who was kind of like she was at the time, she kind of helped put the whole thing together and was kind of like our manager and stuff.
She's the best.
She just was like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to book Old Town Pub for a comedy show. All of us having done it 3 or 4 times for the most part. Other than me and Andre had done it a little bit before.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's you see that poster right there?
Yeah.
That's from that.
It's amazing.
And we did a special. We all even did themed sets for Valentine's Day.
Desperation Day.
That's
And
solid.
and we killed it. It was awesome.
Great.
It was
Great
amazing.
Decision.
We tried,
Absolutely.
and then we got aggressive
was
again, and
so
we did the
good.
St. Patrick's Day one, which
That
is next
one.
That one was
We were just
You were
drunk.
smashed, weren't you?
Yeah.
yeah.
Sure. St. Patty's Day shows are a dangerous game.
Yes, they
Yeah.
are.
There. That night, I think I did well. I did okay that night. That was a good night.
I think for the most
Think
part
I
we
like
did.
it was a good night, but it just
okay.
wasn't.
Anytime you look back at a set, I think I did well.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Doesn't exactly mean you killed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I did okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
No,
that
it's.
was a
I mean,
good
we
one.
just kind of been like, we got the slightest opening, and we've just been running through
going
it. you know?
for it.
So-
Absolutely. If you build it, they'll come.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
That's-
incredible.
That's been our plan with sponsors. We just keep pretending that we're sponsored by people, and we're hoping
Like we're
eventually they'll
sponsored
pay us.
by Butcherknife Brewing.
Butcherknife Brewing.
Head down Elk River Road. Get yourself a delicious local beer. Butcherknife Brewing. Thanks for the sponsor.
Thanks
Little
for the money.
plug there.
Please
Thanks for
give
the
us
money.
money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Give
That's
us money.
wild. Like Mark and I on the drive up, we're talking about just the differences in scenes, like just on an open mic level as well. Of like, when you said to me earlier that you're having trouble getting people, or like in Chicago, comics will drive 2 to 3 hours to perform for 20 people,
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Yes.
and like or less.
Right.
And like that's a common thing of like they go and because the traffic's so bad, the amount of time they won't do it, but like. They would happily, like an open mic where you have 30 to 40 people, like audience,
Right.
actual audience members who want to be there and want to laugh, as opposed to a bunch of disgruntled comics, who just
City
don't-
comics.
City comics. That's amazing. That's a really special thing you have.
I think
Yeah.
that is unique to being in Steamboat and starting this off. It's super cool.
It's been amazing the reception that we've got just from the people around here. People really have an appetite for it. And I think maybe it's partially because we live in the mountains and there's nothing else to do for hundreds of miles around, but we'll take it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, no, it's great. We were talking about that. We just got interviewed by the paper yesterday for the show tonight, and that was something we were talking about. I told these guys at the beginning because people were starting to talk about like money really early on, and I was like, you guys, we got to pump the brakes. I was like, you got to understand that there are people who do this for years
yeah.
and don't get the kind of opportunities that you're getting the 3rd or 4th time doing it.
You're talking about the comics asking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And they're like, when are we going to get paid? I was like, are you out of your fucking mind? like pump the brakes. Like you should be getting practice, not paid.
Yeah.
You know? So we still don't really take any money at all. I mean, we'll take
Hard.
donations, but that goes to buying like this
We take-
equipment,
yeah.
to like our own PA system. We put
Because
that
we were
in.
renting a
shirts.
PA from like money that we had made,
Mhm.
like, and then we're just needing to invest so we can actually like do it because the open mics and most of our shows are free for the
Yeah.
most part, and
So you guys were bringing the PA system to the venues when you
Yeah.
were doing the shows.
yeah,
Yeah.
There
the
any
venues don't really like. Some venues will have the stuff for us, but like we really
Yeah, like
do
the Chief
hall
Theater,
and-
because it's a theater, they have all their own stuff built in. But
Yeah.
most of the places we go are just bars, and we'll just post up the PA in the corner.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
So
And
how
it
do you
works.
run the mic? How much time do the people get? Do they sign up on a piece of paper?
Yeah.
What are the logistics of?
It kind of the timing we've been doing kind of depends on how many people sign up. We're pretty loose on it compared to most places.
Yeah, like
Just because we're not like you said, it's not like there's 80 people looking to get spots. There's like we have up to 15, and we'll get like 10 or 12.
Which is
usually.
like huge. For
Which is
Steamboat,
great.
though. Like,
It's fantastic.
It's amazing.
And so like we'll do. Usually we say try to keep it to 5, maybe 10. It's more kind of. It's not as harshly enforced. Like when I was in that one club in Ann Arbor, I can't remember the name of the place now. I think it's just called Ann Arbor Comedy Club or something like that. But they were dudes there who were like really like if you were 5 minutes and like 20 seconds over, they'd ban you.
Ban.
Well, I heard him say something like that. Like if you got 5 minutes, if you go over 5 minutes and 30 seconds, you're on a list and you basically can't come back. Yeah, I thought it was kind of harsh because I didn't realize the first
City
time
comic.
I did it there.
City.
Ann Arbor,
Yeah.
the big city
Ann
of Ann
Arbor.
Arbor.
Yes, the thriving metropolis of Ann Arbor. Yeah, so I was like,
Rusty
man, I
City
couldn't
comic.
believe how kind of cutthroat some of these guys were. I saw one of the guys who's a regular go up and kind of like, he went up to the bartender. I was going to get a drink after my set, and he goes up to the guy and he's like, number 4. He was at 4:35. The guy was like, okay, and he like wrote it on a piece of paper, and I was like, Jesus, guys.
Strange.
Yeah. I mean, there is some logic to that because eventually, if you are getting paid and you go to a club, they're running a tight ship. They
Sure.
need to get their
Yeah,
servers
that's-
out and
Yeah.
time the check drop, and there's all kinds of legit. Eventually, when you're a pro, you do need to be able to hit.
Right.
You
You gotta
no
have
matter
your
how
timing.
wacky you are, if you have a 20-minute set, you're expected to finish between 20 minutes and 21 minutes, basically.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, like 1930 and 2030.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah.
For sure. And we've been kind of, because I started that way, I'm usually pretty mindful of my time when I'm recording and
Well,
stuff like that.
I think the people who take this seriously, we mind our timing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
And,
and that's something that's kind of like for people who've been starting out here, that's like maybe like the next step is being
Yeah.
able to refine your stuff and be
totally.
a little more precise with it.
This is an interesting point because, I think there's two mentalities. There's the old school comedy club mentality, and things have to be run a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's I don't like the word, but I'll use it, indie mentality. Like independent, you're going to do what you want to do, and like you're going to create your own brand and your own show, and then you should run it how you want to run it. And like you don't have to abide by certain things, but like like you go to Comedy Works in Denver, right? They have a big operation that's huge. It's one of the best in the club. That's different, but like up and coming, it's like you just do what you want to do, right? And like if you have a comic who's going long, but he's crushing, or she
Yeah,
or they,
that's like
they're crushing it,
Right.
then let him go.
Sure.
For
And,
sure.
like,
That's-
especially if you have audience members there who are having fun, and like, and you know what? If someone's doing terrible and they're just getting negative and going to a dark spot, cut them off early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Come
all
off early.
right,
Yeah, like you give them an opportunity, but they're just taking it down a dark path. Cut them off early.
Sure.
I think we usually we'll keep a timer most of the time. We'll let people know. But and like if they're going into a dark place or whatever, we'll be like 5, it's up. Like
yeah.
you're
Like, you got
it's
10
time.
seconds. That kind
Yeah,
of thing.
you at least yeah, exactly. At least you have the slot you signed up for. But
When it's a host of something you can see, like if it's someone that
Yeah.
you see that come in and like every once
But
in
if
a while
they're
they'll go
killing
dark,
it,
you know
go.
there'll be
it's all about making
something
people
at
laugh.
the end, like maybe they're building it up, but if
Yeah.
it's someone that's just they're just
Yeah.
taking it, and you have 50 paying audience members who are like, looking
Totally.
around, you got to cut them off. It's
Right.
an open
Totally.
mic. Yeah.
Yeah, we I usually for these open mics I'll host it and I'll usually sit there kind of next to the PA in the front and then we'll give them like a signal or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really don't know you guys super well,
yeah,
and
let's
I
talk
want to
about
like
you.
get to know. I want to
right.
like get to know
Okay.
you guys. So Mark, what's up? How long have you been doing comedy for?
Yeah, great question. About a year and a half.
Cool.
I love it. I did 100 mics in the first 6 months, and you can do that in Denver with all the city
Right,
comics.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
You
like
gotta
100
put in some time.
mics.
But in Denver, some nights you can do 3 to 4 mics. Other nights, there's only one mic in all of Denver.
Cool.
So started out real hard, real difficult to do comedy.
It's so hard.
Yeah, very stage fright. Not very good at joke structure. But you sit in 100 mics and you see a lot of really awful comedy and some really good comedy. And you start to learn how things work.
Oh,
and
sure.
You get a little more comfortable with the microphone
Just
and
being
stage
in the
presence
environment, you're
and-
gonna absorb some
Totally.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was fun. I wrote a book about those first 6
You
months.
sure did. I got it right here.
Yeah.
Not
yeah.
good yet.
Not good yet. NotGoodYet.com.
Not good
Go get
yet.
your copy.
That's how I feel.
Yeah,
People are like,
yeah.
"Are you good?" I'm like, Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Potential.
Getting there. So I think it's a great read for anybody interested in a dream, but particularly open mic comedians. If you're getting started or want to go to your first mic, there's some instructional stuff in there and some personal stories about my journey in comedy. As I kept going, I kept doing mics. I've done over 300 mics to date. I've started traveling a little bit to do comedy.
Great.
Just went on a road trip last week. Things are going terrific. I slept in the parking lot of a Hobby Lobby on the way.
Life is good.
Yeah,
The life
yeah.
is good.
Yeah, but I made people laugh as well the same day. So
Perfect.
it's a
Hell yeah.
net positive for sure. Got to do comedy in 4 different states. That was really exciting, and unexpectedly got up at a show in Omaha, Nebraska, which was really neat,
Oh, nice.
and did a show in Chicago, which I'm sure
Nice.
Pat will talk about in a little bit.
Pretty awesome show, I believe it was.
Yeah.
It was a pretty awesome show. Great lineup.
I'm going to pick
killer
your brains
hosts.
about open mics to go
Oh.
to because I'm going to be there in a couple weeks.
In Denver.
No, in
Oh.
Chicago.
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah,
Let me-
so I want to pick your guys'
Okay.
Totally
brain.
help, yeah, I'll help you out. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to try to hit. I'm driving across country, so I'm going to try to hit a couple open mics while. I'm
Oh yeah, I'll give you
Going around,
the
so.
route that I took as well,
Cool,
because I went
awesome.
from Colorado to Chicago. That's exactly what I did. I went out.
Perfect.
I hit Kansas, and I guess the listeners might be interested in this.
Yeah, that's yeah. I'd
Clint's
love-
Comedy Stop in Oberlin Park, Kansas,
Okay.
has an open mic on Sunday nights. Pretty good. 20 people in the audience, paying. Clint there is a real nice guy and runs a good show. And
Shout out to Clint.
Oh,
Yeah,
shout out to Clint in Kansas.
and yeah, now that I said that, I probably shouldn't say that there's a nice Hobby Lobby in the same kind of area.
If you need to stay somewhere, there's always Hobby Lobby.
And then from there, I went to Iowa City. They have a Monday night open
Cool.
mic at the Yacht Club. That's the University of
Oh.
Iowa college town.
yeah.
Okay.
And that's just like 3.5 hours from Chicago. And then once you get to Chicago, there's a million mics. Pat
Yeah.
can
Awesome.
hook you up with that.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, and just to kind of finish out the story, as I got a little more confident, I started traveling, doing some comedy, and really taking every opportunity I could to get on stage, inventing stage time, like going to meetup groups and being like, hey, you want some comedy? I'll put together a little comedy show.
Yeah.
I'm starting a comedy show in Vail, Colorado, another ski town. The first one's tomorrow night. We got the amazing Pat Treuer on the lineup, Derek Stroop from Denver, Callan Reese from Colorado Springs. We got a great article in the paper, big picture of Pat in it a couple
Nice.
days ago. It was terrific.
Like,
just-
nice.
Yeah. So yeah, just any way I can find stage time, get on stage, working on joke writing,
Yeah,
trying
definitely.
to write as much as possible. I might not be the best comedian in any given room, but I like to be the one who's working the hardest.
Sure.
So-
Yeah, I mean, you put in work, it's going to pay off. I mean, it's that simple to a certain degree, on just about anything.
Yep.
So that's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm real excited about tonight. I
Me
think
too.
I got some.
Dude, when you guys see this
I'm
some
so
setup,
good
excited.
material and-
It's
yeah.
so cool.
Oh, yeah.
It's so cool.
yeah.
Yeah. But Mark, what was the tipping point for you to actually take the leap and do your first mic?
I think this is kind of common. I went to a couple mics. I went to 2 mics in a row. I went to a Friday mic down in Denver, Three Kings, which is a really tough mic. There's no audience, or if there is an audience, it's people at the bar that tend to not care.
Damn.
Real hard to get laughs.
That's
And
a
I was just
hard one.
I was just
Yeah.
watching, and I was like, man, I could probably do better than this. These people are these
That's-
people.
that's how I
That's how I
started
started
yeah.
too.
they're either like really awful, like cringy awful,
Oh, yeah.
or they're really good. And I would get like angina. I had chest pain for like 2 hours because I was like, I can't believe I'm going to do this. Some of these people are really funny and nobody's laughing at them. I didn't understand that the like 20 comedians that were there had probably already heard the jokes 100 times.
Right.
I was like, man, this is hard. Like that was a very good joke and I want to laugh, but nobody else is laughing. I don't know what to do. Like what's
Yeah.
appropriate. And then the following Monday, I went to the Irish Rover, another great mic, R&B, and watched the open mic and had a similar feeling. Like, yeah, I think I could do this. I'm not going to be the best person if I come back here and do this mic, but I'm definitely not going to be the worst. There are some city comics here that
Yeah.
are struggling. So then I wrote some material and I came back the next Monday to Irish Rover and gave it a shot, and it was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
well,
Yeah.
it was I had too much material. You've heard the story. I ran a light basically because I didn't know that they had cut the time for the comics by a minute towards the end of the night, and don't do this. This is not good advice. But I started yelling at the host
Perfect.
for cutting me off.
Perfect.
In retrospect,
Such a good move.
perfect.
I was one of those people we
Good
were
move.
talking about earlier
awesome.
where you maybe want to rush somebody off the stage because they're not doing very well. But in my mind, I was like, I'm doing terrific. I'm hitting
I'm
everything.
remembering my shit, and I'm on stage.
and I'm building
doing
up to
great.
this huge punchline at the end, and he's trying to get me, and he got me off, and I didn't get it. And in
Damn.
retrospect, I
Not
was
good.
terrible.
Yeah.
I was, I had,
Like, it was
I had,
okay.
I had a few good jokes in there, but none, just not enough.
Right.
And I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
How can you until you do it? I still don't know what
Yeah.
I'm doing, so it's perfect.
Exactly. Yeah.
Figuring it out. Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta let the host know, though. Like, yeah, don't yell at the host, but if there's something going on that's like real fishy, you gotta let them know. So
Like,
it's
what's
not
going on,
okay.
man?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like the mysterious. There's a lottery system at some mics,
Mm,
and it's incredible how lucky the same people get
Yeah,
every week at the
right?
lottery.
the
Of,
lottery.
yeah, you
quote.
sit there and you have people wait 2 to 3 hours to perform 3 minutes, 4 minutes maybe, and like that's all they're looking forward to all day is to try it. And then someone just comes in and like magically their name is pulled next, and it's like, okay, all right, maybe
Right.
once, but twice in a row, you got to say something. You can't let that happen. That's-
Yeah.
Right.
True
Yeah.
that.
Let people waste your time.
yeah, but yeah, it's a slippery slope sometimes.
Well, luckily here at Steamboat Comedy, we're very honest.
Yeah.
There's no lottery, no corruption here to deal
Good.
with.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Yeah.
Nope. None of that.
Not yet.
Yeah.
See if I get paid or not.
How about you
Right.
guys? Tell us about your first mic.
Oh.
Did you run your first mic? Like that's unbelievable.
I went a hair long on mine. It was my 29th birthday. So I've been doing like the seasonal thing we were talking before. I lived in Montana for a while, and I would come back and forth to here. And comedy was always something I had in the back of my mind, but I never lived in like a real place where I could do it.
Yeah.
And then I had moved to Ann Arbor for one winter. I took a winter off from the seasonal thing, and I knew they had a club there. And it was right before it was my 29th birthday. Me and the girlfriend went there and we watched an open mic, and just the same thing. I was like, even if I completely shit my pants, I'm gonna be better than that dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I signed up the next week, got in the first time I signed up, and went up, and it went really well, and I was hooked ever since.
Yeah.
And yeah, I tried to sign up again, and I didn't make the list like 2 more times in that period of time, and I think it's because I went a little bit over, and
They're like, this
they
guy.
blacklisted me.
I like this
But
guy.
I came back the next year, and I said my name was Kyle Ruff, and they wrote down Kyle Rudd, and I made the list. So I don't know if that was my end.
Okay, you take
Paul-
it anywhere you
Paul's
get it.
brother.
Exactly. Me and Paul hanging out.
Good old Paul.
Uh-huh.
Love when he comes visits us.
Yeah. Me and Paul, dude. We're like this. We're tight.
My
But
idiot stepbrother.
exactly.
How many times did you do it before we had our first open mic here?
Twice.
Twice. Okay, so still
Yeah.
fresh.
Good for you.
And
That
then
is
you
awesome.
hosted
Yeah.
an open
Fresh.
mic, your
I
third
did-
mic.
Let's see, when did I start? So we had like Brittany was she was like, I'm not a comedian. I'm just gonna help organize this thing. I'll be the host. So she hosted like our first probably 4 open mics and the 2 shows, because she did the one that we did at
6 shows,
O'Neill's,
yeah.
and then 3 at Brauhaus. And then it was after the St. Patrick's Day one, we kind of decided it'd be better to have one of the actual comics host, just so they'd be a little bit more into it, because she kept running around and doing other things, and we're kind of like, you can't be going to get drinks at the bar, you gotta like sit down here and host. And so so I hosted the Butcherknife show. We did the first show of Butcherknife was the end of last season, and we decided
like beginning of April.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it was awesome. It sucks that we record all of our shows, and I recorded on that one, cut out like 20 minutes in, and we lost almost all of it.
I think that was my best night.
It was
I
a
think
lot
that
of
was my
people's
best night
best
ever.
night.
It was so good.
Our buddy Spencer, who's
good.
going to be performing tonight, he blew the roof off that place. And it was so
Full
funny.
circle.
Yeah. He had this, like how you were talking before about a guy who it seems like they're struggling, but it's really just a really long setup.
Yeah.
We had a joke like that, and at the end he dropped the hammer, and the
It was,
place just about
lit
died.
up. Yeah.
Terrific.
We started calling him the full circle because everyone in public would see him, they'd be like, "Oh man, you brought that thing full circle, dude." Full circle." And he's like, "If one more person says."
Me full circle.
Yeah.
It's like smashing a waffle at
Yeah.
breakfast.
He's like-
Somebody calls, you'll understand.
Yeah.
Spencer, shout out Spencer.
He
You're
was
the best.
on fire the
He's
last
the best.
podcast episode too.
Oh,
He was the one who gleefully informed us that it was 9/11 on Wednesday at the beginning of the podcast. If you remember that part.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was so funny.
it's so funny.
What was my part of that? Why I was talking
I
about
don't.
Spencer?
I don't know.
Just chatting about
I just
mics
love
and
them.
the experiences.
We were talking about that was the first show that I hosted. Was the last
Yeah.
Butcherknife show, and
Yep.
it was a really good turnout. And kind of since then, you and I have been mostly handling everything as far as
Yeah,
hosting and organizing. I
Yeah.
probably host like 2/3 of the things,
mostly.
and then like you and Miles will.
Yeah,
hang-
we'll jump
try to-
in there.
It's good for
Whatever.
you guys. It's all about creating your own opportunities, right? You can
Yeah.
either be someone who just complains about not getting the opportunities, or you can do it yourself.
I'm just
and
doing
get 'em,
it.
right?
I'm
Yeah.
just
Well,
making
Mark was
it
exactly.
saying earlier,
happen.
like create your own stage time. Do it how you want to do it. Don't let other people dictate what you do.
Totally.
Right.
Especially like that's the whole art of the comedy, right? Like
Right.
the
Yeah.
individual up there
You can
doing
do
what
whatever
they
you
want to
want.
do.
Definitely.
And when it's yours and you build something great, then people want to be a part. And then all of a sudden, the people that you like wanted to have their approval, or you wanted them to ask you to something, all of a sudden they're coming to you
Mhm.
and asking, which is a fun turning point. So,
Yeah,
it's
I
awesome.
like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been going
Um,
great.
The lessons of an open mic.
Yes.
Right? The lessons of a comedy show.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had any crazy things happen at your open mics?
Not really. We
It's
No, they're usually
Steamboat
pretty
Springs,
boring.
Colorado. It's
Yeah.
not like nothing crazy happens.
I don't know, nothing crazy. We had me and a couple people tried to go to Boulder for an open mic, and that was a strange experience.
Okay.
We
Which one?
recorded
Vision Quest.
it was at a bicycle shop.
Yeah, Saturday night.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was
I've heard that's good.
we
I haven't been though myself personally.
It was an interesting experience.
Okay.
Let's just stop it there.
Yeah, we didn't have the best
Perfect.
time. I mean, it was okay. It was
All right.
fine. It was just kind of a weird
We
crowd.
talk about it off
Duly
mic.
noted.
I'm
Yeah.
curious.
We
just
actually-
move right along.
We recorded a podcast about it, and I don't know if it'll ever see the light of day.
So you guys don't have like random people just wander in and sit down, cracked out, and take their shirt off and
No, nothing
start
like that
yelling
yet.
about peanut butter sandwiches and
Damn, I wish that would happen. I could go
Yeah.
for a sandwich. That sounds good.
We need to go do open mic with you guys.
that's city open mic comedy right there.
That sounds about right.
Nice.
There's
That in
one
Chicago
guy.
ever?
Oh man, we've had we had a guy who like he's been known to show. He's a real crazy looking fella, and he's I would guess over 50 years old. Questionable if he lives in a house. And he'll come in and he'll put stuff out and he'll take stuff out that looks like poop and it'll be like a melted candy bar and like he'll do it and then he is I'm gonna say not white and and then he will make everybody's sets like he'll open up with about how racist everything was and it's always like oh god and like thankfully he's only come to mind one time. That was an experience. And then you witnessed the last week we had a guy who came up to me and he said he was going to do a character. And like you guys were talking about you're paying for the PAs, right? Like
Yeah.
you are doing this, right? So at the show I run in Chicago, it's a process to build trust with the establishment.
Right.
You have to show them that you're
Oh,
bringing
yeah,
people
for
in
sure.
to get them to put money in. And at first we had a plug-in mic that was just in like that's where the plug-in with the wall was. Not an ideal situation for an open mic,
No.
not a room.
Right.
But then we were having success with the open mic, and so I asked for wireless microphones, which are very expensive. And thankfully, it's called the Irish Oak. It's the Denver Broncos bar in Chicago. It's right in Wrigleyville. And thankfully, they have an amazing sound system already built in. But the mic is a game changer, right? Because that allowed us to shift the room to now if you just imagine a big rectangle, if we're looking at the table here, the stage, now it's more of like there's a stage and it's focused and everybody walks in the room and it's all focused on the stage
Nice.
as opposed to this awkward corner that it was
Yeah,
before.
that's yeah.
Yeah.
Learning
And
how to set up open mics is a journey
it's
for
important.
sure.
It's a show an
Yeah.
open mic. Yeah, it's all about just creating this tight environment and like to focus everything on the comedy. But by having the wireless microphone, it allowed us to change the room in that way. So now it's an incredible comedy room.
Great.
And then all we have like a construction light as our spotlight that we hung on a rafter and a little stage that's made of 2x4s and it's spray painted black, but it's ideal for a backroom show.
Perfect.
And so last week a comic came up to me and said, I have a character. And what also you need to know for this story is that it was our first ladies' night of comedy, which is a new thing because I'm trying to encourage more diversity in the room, have a more diverse lineup. There's a lot of very talented female comics who are intimidated by showing up at this open mic session because, it's a lot of guys talking about their dicks or...
I'm talking about their dicks.
Sure. It's terrific. It's wonderful. Yeah.
I am talking about
And I bet you do a great job. I bet you do a wonderful job.
I make so many different songs up, and
She's got great dick material.
Yeah.
Great dick
and I'm not
material.
saying that that's like not an ideal environment. It's just repetitive.
Sure.
No,
and
for sure.
sometimes it's just
It can be intimidating if you're not used to that kind of.
Yeah.
And
She
I'm
was
gonna say,
raunchy from the get-go. So it was
Literally
easy.
right off the
Sure,
start.
sure, and I wanted to create this more diverse environment. So we had ladies' night, gave out a ton of comps to every female performer. Every 2 out of 3 spots was for a female or non-binary performer. So in
Perfect.
Chicago,
Cool.
that's the proper
We're
term.
PC.
Right.
And so, anyways, a guy came up to me and he said, "Hey, I'd like to do a character tonight." And I
Okay.
said, "Okay." And I'd seen his stand up. He's all right. And he gets up on stage at ladies' night and he pretends to be this wasted comic, and he has his pants down and unbuttoned, and he had shorts on underneath. And first I was like, "Oh, I don't know where this is going." And then he takes a deliberate spill with the wireless microphone on the stage, and it's a concrete ground. And after he did that, I was like, no, I can't have this. Like, that microphone goes down. That messes up the showcase we have. We have paying members coming tomorrow.
Can't do it.
That stops this. That's like, the bar's not going to be happy. And it's like, and also, like, the unbuttoned pants on ladies' night, not a good idea.
Right.
And Mark and I have discussed this about
That's
the
not a vibe.
creative freedom.
We can-
And I said, okay, yeah, maybe I failed to see the creative genius, right? Or maybe he's going to be serving me sandwiches in 5 years.
Yeah.
Maybe
Right,
he's
like-
an
Maybe it's
asshole.
not.
Nothing
for
wrong with
him.
sandwich makers, by the way. It's just like, and it was, but like, you have to be aware of that when you're running these things. Like when you have limited resources,
Yeah.
because if you guys spent $100 on a PA and someone takes a spill on purpose and breaks it,
Oh, I would be very sad.
yeah. So
I would be sad, but with an M. Mad.
I was about to be like, Sam?
Sam.
Saddam.
Smad?
Mad.
Yeah.
Mad. I would be smad, sad, mad.
But you
and
see
mad.
all kinds of different things like that when you run a show with everyone that comes
Yeah.
in, and like what
Yeah.
some people, and like I'm not
I guess that's small
innocent
town.
of things that I haven't done.
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
and I even told the comic, "Hey, I was at Comedy Works. My second time on stage, I threw the microphone, not knowing that microphone costs a lot of money. Did the exact same. I did worse. I threw the microphone. I was hammered on stage. It
Like
was
you like
my-
did a mic drop, or
no,
you like threw it
I
at somebody?
tossed the microphone. I tossed it. It was the second time ever.
You just
It was
felt
at the,
it. You just were
it was
like,
a
I'm
part
gonna
of the
throw-
bit. It was a
Okay.
part of the bit where it was like a boob popping out of a bra like a snake in a can, and I just fired the microphone
away.
out to create that visual,
Perfect.
and it just popped. I mean, that was bad. And so I did it, right? I'm not guilty. Yeah, and that was at the New Faces competition, right? That's when I ran over. I got disqualified because I ran over. Yeah, that's. So, anyways, lesson learned. You see some.
Open mics, man. They get a little, they get wild.
Yeah.
They can get wild.
I got a question actually for you guys, because I know there's a lot of these comedy competitions all over in like the cities, and I'd be interested in trying to do one sometimes, but I don't know anything about them. I've never seen one. I'm not really sure how that works.
Yeah, I'll just jump in here and say there's one thing that's hard about comedy competitions is they're subjective.
Right.
So, like I've New Faces in Denver. I think it's open to anybody in Colorado, so you can try and join it next year. They did like run out of spots. They had more people this year than ever before.
Oh, wow.
I think 200 comedians entered this competition. So they had like 13 nights where they had 13 people go up and do 5 minutes.
Wow.
And then they have 5 people in the audience, random audience members who score on 5 different topics, and like originality and audience response and stage presence, delivery, that kind of stuff. And then there's a headliner, a pro comic, who's also scoring.
Right.
And
Okay.
then they
Cool.
combine all the scores, and then 3 people from those 13 advance to the semifinals.
Cool.
And then once they get to the finals, the winner gets $1,000 and this really cool belt. And it's like it's a pretty big deal to beat out 200 other comics.
Sure.
The thing that's
Sure.
interesting is I think I went to 10 of the 13 shows and took my own score of everybody. and I participated in one of them as well. Did not advance, but was happy. I got a good tape out of it.
That's good.
So
Yeah.
that was nice. What was interesting was I was very not good at predicting who the top 3 people would be. You know, I would know for sure who the top 3 were in my book, and maybe I'd get 1 or 2 of them right. But the 5 people judging and the combined score, you could never predict. Like, you could probably predict, you know, 3 or 4 people that definitely were not going to advance.
Right.
You know, the new first year, second year.
I mean, if someone's just straight up uncomfortable and slipping and stuff, it's obvious to see who's falling.
Just not good.
Yes.
That's
a nice way to...
Yet.
Yes.
Yet.
Yeah.
They'll get better. They'll get better. But they... Yeah, so that's the first thing you need to know is it, and in a way that feels unfair, right? You can get up there and crush and do really well, but somebody just might not like your material.
Right.
Maybe it's
That's the comedy
too
world, though,
edgy
I
for
feel
you,
like.
or
Very
maybe it's too
judgmental.
alternative for one of the scores.
Sure.
There's another competition, the World Series of Comedy, that I don't know too much about, but I participated in it this year. Did a show at Looney's Comedy Club in Colorado Springs.
Mm-hmm.
You can sign up towards the end of the year for the next year. Like I sent in an audition tape in like December, and then you might get onto a show. You can get onto a satellite show. Like Anthony Armstrong is a comedian in Denver who got on to a show in Boston. So he like flew to Boston,
Oh, wow.
participated
Nice.
there, made the top 101 comics, who then participated in St. Louis at the finals, which I'm going to go to. They're supposed to have comedy classes and stuff like that.
Cool.
I don't know a ton about it. I'll circle back with you.
Sure.
That's
Yeah.
at the end of this month.
Awesome.
In a couple weeks. But yeah, basically comedy competitions, they're great practice.
Yeah.
I think it's terrific practice to watch all the comedians because you see a wide range of comedy.
Yeah.
But just don't have your heart set on winning, even if you
Go
feel
for
like
the experience.
yeah, and give it your all. Try to win, but don't. I mean, I'm surprised by the comedians I talked to in Denver who've done New Faces 3-4 times, and they clearly, to me, had one of the top 3 sets and didn't advance. And they're so laid back and relaxed, just like that's just the way the cookie crumbles. You can't know. Like almost every night, there would be one person who crushed the hardest, and they would always advance. So if you're
Right.
like clearly the person who just stole the show, you'll advance.
Yeah.
But if there isn't one of those, or you're below that, at that point, it's kind of a guessing game.
Yeah.
Here's what I would say, step by step, what to do. New comic going to another city, you want to get into the competition.
Mhm.
Find the Facebook groups for the communities there. Start there. Look for submission pages. As your part of your submission, you have to submit tape. Right?
Okay.
So I would
Sure.
find. So if you have the money, spend it. But once you find your solid 5 minutes, it's all about 5 minutes. Right? That's
All
everyone
about 5
values 5
minutes.
minutes in these competitions. It's like submit a 5-minute set. 5-minute set. Find it. Once you have a good 5-minute set, find a videographer here in town.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and put on a show and put it in whatever venue is going to be the loudest, and bring all your friends. Bring all your friends, and have the videographer bring in professional sound equipment.
Hell yeah.
Spend the money to get a solid, and do that 5 minutes, and make sure it's like everyone says, tight 5 minutes, and make sure it's that, and then you have a quality bit, because no one knows who you are when you go to another city,
Right.
But if you have a solid one, and it's like, if you have one and you're, I call it juicing the laughs.
Yeah.
Like you're having
Oh,
all
hell
your
yeah.
friends in there, and like you make it but make it look like it's cool. Like if you have to put up a curtain in the background as well, instead of like a
Yeah.
window, like make it look so it's framed,
legit,
so it's
sure.
there. Because the person watching that tape has no idea where
You're
that
just
show
making-
is.
Outside
no,
the
you're
shot,
just
you don't
taking
know.
the-
Don't say where it is.
Yeah.
Don't say where it is. Don't say we're at the XAZ Brewery. Just do the material. Have the 5 minutes. Have your friends go nuts for you at the end. And even like tell some of your friends, if they don't know the material, tell them, I need you to hit it hard. That's what Run DMC, when he started out, that's exactly what he did.
Really?
Yes, he knew that a promoter
fan.
was going to be at an event he was DJing, and he told all his friends, go nuts. He packed the place with all his friends, and he told them, go absolutely ballistic. And he created this image of himself
Hell
being
yeah.
much greater. You can do that with these tapes, and then you go to the cities, you join the Facebook groups, you find what other like websites, Denver5280.com, Chicago, comedyofchicago.com. You just type in Google each city you go, and you'll find it, because a lot of it is a buddy system. And people, like Mark told me this today, a lot of people vouch for other people
Sure.
or really, really strong tapes. And I've learned this is like, there's a lot of comedy festivals and they'll take your money. And I don't know, I spent like a couple $100 on things where I like just constantly getting, nope, sorry. And that's like turned me to like just focusing on what I'm doing and like not having to worry about those and like just creating kind of like you create something awesome here. People find out about it. That will help spread, especially if like creating a show, you have people come visit and they're in other places. You guys are meeting me right now. If you continue to have people come up from Denver, and just be friendly and establish a basic human relationship with them, right? Then you have a resource and you have an in, right?
Yeah,
and and that's it. You can reach out. Like, you're coming to Chicago, I'm happy to help you out. Right there, right? However you need.
Let's do it.
You know, Mark, like you go down to Denver, like here's the layout, because that's half the battle right there is just figuring out where do I go. And like, you don't want to go to an open mic and just wait there for 3 hours and not do anything. And like, but that level of festivals is a different level. Yes, it helps a lot, but it is consistent with that tight 5. And so you want yours to look awesome when you have those videos to show. And also, like when I have my shows, I have people come and they send me videos of themselves and say, hey, I'm going to be in Chicago. Is there any way I can get on your show? And I will watch the tape. And that's kind of like a weird moment when you have that show of like, oh, people are asking me to watch it if they can be on. And be like, yeah. And I absolutely do pay attention to the tape and I watch it all the way through. And because me, like, I don't like, I don't like even though I'm talking about buddy up with people, I don't like the fact that a lot of people get on just because they know somebody. They're not. There's many more talented people.
I agree.
Sure.
And they don't get the opportunities because they're just not so good with social interactions.
Yeah.
Right.
Or they're new to town or whatever. So
and that's where it's hard on you trying to be like, one of your friends is trying to say, hey, bring me with you, but you know that somebody you're not as tight with might be a little bit better. You gotta give them the tough love. So it's kind of a lot of pressure on you to get the right people.
100%. 100%. Absolutely.
See, these are things I don't even know about.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a.
We're just a couple of small time and mountain folk. We don't know these
we
city
don't know
things.
these things. Yeah.
Down in the big city.
What are your big
not that.
city
It's just
secrets?
human behavior. It's just
Sure.
Mark pointed me out to this guy named Brent Gill who runs the Boulder Comedy Show, and Mark brought that to my attention, and I reached out to him and I asked him, and he's got a great room. I'm looking forward to a plug. I'm going to be there on Sunday. But I hadn't heard about it. Mark did it, and I talked to him, and he spent an hour and a half talking to me just on all the lessons that he learned about what to do, and it all comes together to like putting together a good lineup if you're putting it on. But then like by doing that, you get the show, you get more people, and like so many opportunities will arise. Like what you guys are essentially what I'm wrapping up right now with is you guys are doing the right thing if you just keep working hard at this.
That's
right?
the goal.
Let's keep doing it.
We're
doing it well.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, sweet. We should probably wrap this up because we got a show to do, people.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, buddy. Anything else? Any got parting words?
Sure. Quick plugs, right? We got the Vale Comedy Show,
Vale
produced
Comedy
by
Show.
Vale Comedy Show.
Mark Masters tomorrow in Eagle Vale,
and again on October 19th, featuring Christy Buckley. Apologies.
Sunday. Just found out I'll be at the Boulder Comedy Show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good
and
weekend.
The old Instagram, you can follow Real Funny Pat, all one word.
Nice.
And then YouTube is Pat Chat, PATCHAT.
Nice.
And that's me. That's it.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah,
thanks for the
Thank
show.
you.
Really excited.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So
Yeah.
cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't even think we need to edit this.
I know.
You guys are like
Usually,
professional and not raunchy and dumb like we are.
No,
I spent 5 hours editing the last one.
You
I think
don't
I just
understand
go
what
ahead and do this.
happens. They can't just stay on a track line. We all can't stay on a track
that?
line. It's definitely all of us. Literally. And then I'll just be like, so as we were saying, we say that
Right.
30 times throughout the episode.
Yeah.
We need to like, this is like so, you don't even have to
Yeah,
edit
this is
it.
too easy on me. Guys. I
Yeah,
appreciate
come
it.
on.
Well, all right. Thank you guys again so much for
Thank
listening.
you.
And if you come to see us tonight, we'll see you there. If not, we'll see you in the future. See y'all later. Thank you.
Open mics are going to start back up on the 24th at the Barley, September 24th.
You heard her.
Yep.